This video will take you through the locks. The locks will only be found if you have a landlord or a calendar thermostat. This is not applicable to residential versions. So locks are an essential part to keep your heating bills under control, prevent the excess heat, etc., which is the primary reason for buying the landlord thermostat. So it's very important that you take a look at the locks and fully understand what they do. So to access the locks, select the locks menu, which can be found here. If you're using this on a mobile, you would find this under the menu at the top, and you would just select the locks. Quick mobile view. You can see various lock functions and what can be done at the bottom as sort of summary, which will tell you exactly what can and cannot be done on the thermostat. Just return to the bigger view. So this is the desktop view, but all the information is exactly the same. So to go through each section, block registration prevents the thermostat being re-registered to another user. This should always be set to true. The only time you'd set this to false would be if you have sold the property and a new landlord needs to register the thermostat. So restrict set points. This allows the temperature to be adjusted on the unit itself using the up and down arrows or plus and minus keys depending on which version you have. So you can either disable it and then the buttons do anything, or you can have it enabled and you can set a temperature range. For example, 15 to 23 degrees. Here, they'll be able to adjust the temperature between 15 and 23 at all times. When they've adjusted the temperature, it will stay at that new temperature until the next heating change, unless you enable Profile Boost. If you enable Profile Boost, it will stay at that new temperature for your boost time, typically 1 hour, and then revert back to your normal schedules. So we'd often recommend, there's not 90% of the time you would want Profile Boost to be enabled if you are using the restrict set points option. Then we have each function. So you have your heating functions and your hot water functions. Depending upon the unit type, you may or may not see the hot water functions. And again, this is what can be done on the thermostat. So at the moment, they can cycle the heating between off, auto, and manual. So typically, we don't want them to be able to switch the heating to manual because manual could be left on all the time. So let's just disable that. So this will allow them to cycle the heating between off and auto, which is a reasonable choice. Sometimes you may not want them to be able to change it at all, in which case, if you just disable the off as well, that will keep the heating in auto at all times. On the right-hand side here, we have a summary of what can be done, and these have changed based on the adjustments which I've now made. So at the moment, it says here, use the up and down arrows. Use these to adjust the target temperature between 15 and 23 degrees. This will remain at a new temperature for 60 minutes. We've got a boost set at the moment, and we've got a program advanced set. So let's say we want to remove these options. You would find these under settings. We took the boost off, and we disabled the program advance. Back to locks, you'll see this is now updated and removed those options. So at the moment, the only thing which can be done is adjusting the temperature between 15 and 23, and the hot water can be cycled between off and manual. Let's just change the hot water to on all the time. And now that mode will disappear from what can be done on the thermostat because it's locked to manual. You cannot make any changes on the thermostat itself. So at the moment, the only thing is for target temperature. Again, we could disable this if we wanted to, and that will change to nothing at all. We wouldn't recommend this mode. You should always have some way of bringing the heating on, even for a short period of time on the thermostat. So for example, you may just want a boost. So let's go and re-enable that at 1 hour. And now it will tell you pressing a boost will bring the heating on for 60 minutes at 22 degrees. Again, you can configure all these settings. It will tell you on the right-hand side what it can actually be done on the thermostat. And yeah, that's the locks. So you can use this to prevent the heating being left on 24/7, which is the primary function of a thermostat to prevent that happening.